Hello there, and welcome to this episode of the Movies in Focus podcast. I'm Niall Brown. Ernesto Díaz Espinoza, the filmmaker behind the stylish and brutal new thriller Diablo, joins this episode of the podcast. Espinoza has been flying the flag for genre cinema in Chile for nearly 20 years, serving up everything from hard-hitting martial arts action to offbeat exploitation throwbacks. With Diablo, he's crafted something lean, atmospheric, and incredibly well acted. Think Man on Fire by way of Terminator 2. We talk about making the movie, working with actors like Scott Adkins, and delivering an old-school action film with limited resources. If you like stylish and punchy action films, then you're going to want to hear this. And as always, I hope you enjoy what we have to talk about. Hiya, Ernesto.
Hey, how are you, man?
I'm all good. Thank you for taking the time today.
Yeah. No, thanks to you, man. Thanks to you.
Um, we'll just get right down to it. I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a blast. Um, for me, and again, this is me pitching it. I would pitch it as Terminator 2 meets Man on Fire.
That's
Is that a good summarization of the film?
Man, that's great. That's great. Actually, I never thought about that mix, but both of those movies are references. So, I mean, in different angles of it, but definitely works that definition. Yeah.
I mean, it's a great film, and I mean, you managed to stumble across or cast a brilliant actor in Scott Adkins. What's it like working with him?
It's awesome working with him, actually. Was a big challenge also because he have done so many movies, so many great movies, great action movies. So for me it was okay, man. Wow. I gotta be at his level, or I'm trying to make something better, obviously. And he knows a lot about movies. I mean, he's a cinephile. He directed movies when he was a kid, as me, the homemade movies with his friends. So he's a director too. I mean, he easily can direct his own movie. So everything was challenging, but awesome at the same time because he's so great, so professional. He was so easy to work with him because you just say action and he just was Chris. And obviously, we made a lot of work before reading I mean, actually writing the script, writing the story, and then the rehearsals, reading the script with Scott and Alana. Uh, you know, talking about it, talking about the characters. All that previous work is key. So then you get to the set and just say action.
And one of the things about saying action, I mean, what you've done really well, and a lot of filmmakers don't do well, is you pull the camera back and just let Scott Adkins do his thing with the action. How much of that is planned ahead camera wise, or do you work that out on the day? How does that work?
Everything is planned from before. I mean, sometimes you gotta improvise. As always, you have some. You cannot do what you have in your plan, so you gotta make something new there. But you create the choreography in the gym with the stunts. Actually, Marco was the fight choreography in this movie too. And what you do is you take advantage of the talents of the people that you have. And obviously, Scott and Marco are the best guys in the business. Martial arts actors, so they can fight for real. So you don't need to cut. I mean, obviously sometimes when the actors don't know martial arts, that you gotta cut because you gotta go, move after move. But here they can do everything for real. So you try to show that if you have that, you want to show it. That's why we do it. And sometimes also we got a lot because you need the rhythm,
Yeah.
the language of that vertigo of the fights. But you can stay in long shots with these guys. That's why we do it.
And that's what's so good about it, because I mean, I come from watching movies of the era. I think we're probably around the same age, where you would have those long shots, you would see the fight sequences, and then it got into the sort of the late 90s, the early 2000s, where everything just became sort of choppy, and you
Yeah.
really can't understand the geography of what's going on. That's the beauty of this movie. You see and you understand everything that's happening.
Yeah, thank you, man. That's a huge compliment because it's something that we really have to, work. It's a huge work that to achieve that, you
It's easy to
gotta.
see the compliment when you see it on screen, though. That's the beauty of it.
Well, thank you, man. I'm really proud, man, with this movie. I think we were able to do a lot of new stuff and bigger stuff, and actually, you are mentioning early 90s. We wanted to have that feel, especially the falls, having real falls. That's awesome, you can feel those guys, felt, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
that's it. You feel almost the bones crunching. The action. It really is like a top tier sort of action flick. The type I love, and you rarely get of good quality anymore.
Well, I mean, I think the same. I I'm from the generation of, VHS, 80s, 90s action movies, real stunts,
Yeah.
that you can see that, well, th that was really risky to do that scene. I mean, it was actually, scary to do it. And we tried to emulate those movies that made us, and obviously you need to have security and take care of your people, but you need to feel that little, fear when you're doing action movies.
Yes, and the audience has to feel it as well. Because
Exactly.
there's nothing worse than you're watching something and you just see it's obvious CGI. And it's like, oh God, I'm taken out of it. It's a video game suddenly, not a film.
Yeah, it's true. And you can tell. I mean, you can tell. It's not, you cannot hide that, man. And also depends on the tone of your movie. Maybe some, huge superhero movies work with that kind of movie making. But here we needed to feel that was real because it's not 100% realistic movie, but the tone comes from you need to feel those emotions, and there is a real thing. I mean, it's not a fantasy.
One of the things I was impressed at, there's so many locations. That you move a lot around a lot geographically in the film, or it seems that way anyway. How many days did you have to film it?
24 days, really tough days, tough shooting, tight. Every day was really tight. It was a struggle to make the day, but it's part of I mean, you are never in the perfect scenario to make movies. You always have to, it's challenging every day for action scenes and also for drama scenes. And yeah, and we have a lot of locations. We moved a lot, with the crew and the cast, and but it looks good. It
It,
was
it does.
so
Because again, a lot of films of a modest budget like this one does, they have a tendency to shoot like two, three locations, or keep it very locked down. But you feel like you have moved around a lot, and I mean, it could be that you just turned the camera the opposite direction, but there definitely feels like scope to the film, which is really really good.
cool. Thank you, man. Yeah, I mean, we moved a lot. It's actually everything's real locations. A couple of times as you said, the gas station was here and the other, location was here, but most of the time was just moving around, going to the real places. And Nicolo de la Fere, the DP, he made a great and awesome, job shooting all those landscapes and the fights. This is a art itself shooting fight scenes, and that guy has actually his special grip to do his movements, with the camera.
And what's it like when we've talked about the actors, but when you're getting a technical crew together to make a film like this, do you go back and look at their old films? Do you have people recommended? So, like the cinematographer, how do you go about choosing the right person for this sort of movie?
For example, this specific case of Nicolo, the DP, he worked with Marco again before in a movie in Thailand that I was not part of it until I edit the movie. And I was editing the movie, and I said, man, this DP is awesome. This guy really knows what he's doing, and because I actually was watching the whole takes, not just the piece
Yeah.
that ended up in the movie, from action to cut. So I told Marco, this guy will be, perfect for Diablo, and Scott knew about him from other movies, so we ended up working with him. We could have him.
And another thing, you've talked about you 24 days to shoot the film, but the performances, as we've touched on, are so good. Do you have much rehearsal time making a film like this? I know that obviously the action sequences, but just the character moments, do you get much of that performance time to go over
You
that?
you you don't have much time to do that, but for me, it's key to have to do it anyways. So we had some rehearsals, not for every scene, not for every actor, but for the main, most important scenes of the movie. There is a lot of, it's not rehearsing. It's not like doing the scene before, because you lose that reality of the first time. It's more talk about it, a lot of conversations about the characters, about the dialogues, changing some stuff, modifying a little stuff from the script, and a lot of talking. I think this guy is gonna be like this, and reading the script several times with them, reading the scenes. And when we say, okay, this is it, these are the characters, then we get to the set and do it. You know.
Yeah.
And also something very, very important that I think everybody says this, but it's real. That is the casting. When you choose the right person, that's the whole thing. That's then everything is easy. Not that easy, but it flows.
And the casting's really good in this. Literally all the principal characters, they're so good, and they all work as a dynamic really well together.
Cool, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm really proud and glad with our actors, that they were really great and made the movie better. Yeah.
And just, I'm conscious of time, but when you're making a film like this and you've shot it, you've 24 days, obviously you've got an editing background, but what's it like going into the editing room and trying to make sense of something and the pacing and knowing where the sequences go and how those sequences work together? Well, how does that work?
Well, um, I've been editing since the beginning, since when I started, making movies with my friends and family, VHS to VHS. So when I get to the set, when I'm directing, I'm editing the whole time. It's like in your mind, you are putting together movies, like editing every day in the set. So when you get to the editing room, it's like just I put together that thing that I already had in my mind. You know what I mean? So it's a weird process. It's really enjoyable because you don't have the stress of of the shooting that you need to make the day and make you know sometimes 40 shots in a day or more when you're doing action. Here in the editing room, you are enjoying the footage and what you did, and trying music, trying pace. It's great, man. I love editing. I love editing.
And just one last question: what's next for you? So, what's coming up on the horizon once you've done the marketing for this one?
I actually last night finished my new script, so I gotta read it from the beginning to end to see how it feels. But it's a movie, it's an action movie that I want to make with Scott and Marco again. So it's a neo noir action movie.
Brilliant. Well, you've got at least one member of the audience in me because I love this one. So I look
Cool,
forward to
man.
you reuniting with the band as such.
Good to know, man. Thank you very much. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, no, thank you. And thank you for taking the time today and talking with me.
Yeah, you too, man.
I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Movies in Focus podcast. You can download it wherever you get your podcasts, and I hope that you tell your friends about it. That's it for this time, and I'll see you at the movies.